That's actually clickbait. It's already happened. I'm engaged. I can't believe it. Honestly, I feel like I'd be a child bride, but I am 30. Like, this is a normal age to be engaged, but I feel like I can't believe it's happened to me. I thought I'd do a get ready with me and I'd tell you about how it happened. I imagine first off, you just want to see the ring. I'll give you a close up. This is the ring. This is making me really jittery because I never have announcements like this, so I don't really know how to act. And it's also really off-brand to be really like lovey and be like, I'm engaged. I feel like I'm cosplaying someone else, so just bear with me when I tell this story. But anyway, this is the ring. It's an emerald with diamonds. Oh my god, this just feels so showing off. You know, you see those teenagers being like,
I'm not bragging, but here's my Christmas haul.
I feel like I'm doing that, but like the adult version. And then that's what the back looks like. Yeah, that's it. Let me start getting ready and I'll tell you the story. So let me give you some background to this. I have been with Rory, I'm not saying fiance, sorry, it's too cringe. My partner, I guess. I've been with Rory for 4 years. We met on Hinge. If we don't need much more background than that, do you? We met on Hinge. We've been together 4 years. I'm 30, he's 29 because I'm a cougar. Okay, let's start with how the proposal happened. Right, so a lot of people were like, were you expecting it? Blah, blah, blah. Behind the scenes, we talked about it. Kind of. We talked about always like being together a long time and family stuff for like absolutely years. So it wasn't like, you know, some people are like, oh, I wish they just hurry up and do it. I'm waiting for it. I kind of said to Rory, I want to get married, I think, in like September 2026. But you can propose to me at like any point in the lead up to that. It could be the week before. I don't mind, but that's when we're going to get married. And we both agreed that we're like, yeah, we'll get married in September 2026. So there wasn't like a mega pressure to get engaged because to me, I'm like, it doesn't change anything. We were already living together and we'd already knew that we were going to be together. So I wasn't really thinking about that much. But then my friend Molly got engaged. It was really lovely and I was so happy for her and it was such a lovely feeling like watching this bubble. And then the ring that he chose, her fiance, is just unbelievable. It's so gorgeous. And I was like, oh my god, how did he know like what to get? And she was like, well, I'd sent him examples and stuff. And I was like, that is such a good idea. Why had I not thought of that? So then what I thought I'd do is just to, you know, speed the process up a little bit. I just started DMing Rory links to rings. So if I saw some on Pinterest, I'd send him ones. Once actually he went on a stag do. I thought maybe this will get him in like the wedding mood. I went on Pinterest, found some rings that I liked, and then I made them into like a collage and then I sent them to him. I was like, if you're getting in like the inspiration while you're there, here you go. I was going to tell you what products I'm using, but I imagine that you don't really care about that. You just want to know about the proposal. So anyway, I started sending him links to rings, right? But I kept changing my mind on what kind of ring I wanted. And Roy was like, you're changing your mind every 4 seconds, blah, blah. Like, how would I ever make a choice when 1 minute you're sending me like a really classic, like single diamond, the next you're sending me like an emerald and stuff. And it was because quite a few people have got my head being like, don't you want a ring that's more classic that you're still gonna like when you're 80? And I was like, okay, fine, like I'll just choose a basic one. So I had no idea he was going to propose because he was like, I wouldn't ever know what to propose to you with because you change your mind every 5 seconds. On our anniversary each year, he's taken me to a restaurant and then to see a show somewhere. He's always surprised me on our anniversary. I absolutely love it. Sorry, that was so cringe. I don't know why I just said that. And then he was like, oh, I feel like we've seen like loads of shows. There's not really anything left that we both have said that we really want to see. So what about instead, I'm going to book us to go away for the weekend. And I was like, yeah, fine. Because we do go away a lot for the weekend because I burn myself out every week with work, even though my work is my dream job. So I always try and find us like somewhere cheap that we can then go at the weekend because it just feels fun. Anyway, he's like, I've booked somewhere. I'm like, where are we going? Blah, blah. He's like, I'm not telling you. It's a surprise. And none of this was weird because all the other times that we'd go out for our anniversary, it would always be a surprise. He'd always be like, I'm not telling you where we're going. Blah, blah, blah. So we arrive at this hotel in the Cotswolds. Now we've been to the Cotswolds a lot. So again, that wasn't anything unusual. We get to the hotel. We get into the hotel and basically I suddenly got in my head, I got this vibe that he might propose. Do you know what it is? I think in being neurodiverse and not picking up social cues and stuff, you weirdly do the opposite and you develop this like hyper awareness of when people change, like with their tone changes, whether the way they act changes and all this stuff. It was little things like when we were leaving for the hotel, I'm always late. Like he was like, don't worry, like it's not a problem if we're a bit late, whatever. Whereas normally we're a bit like, okay, like should we get everything together? Like it's a Friday, we're gonna get stuck in traffic. But he was so like, whatever, babe. The problem is he is quite an understanding person, so it could just be that he's just like being understanding. It doesn't matter being stuck in traffic. Anyway, we get to the hotel, we go up to the front desk, and he, you know, normally they've got like a sheet of paper with like the booking information, and normally it's got like what kind of package you're on, and then the price or whatever else, their T's and C's. I don't know. We get over there when he's got this sheet of paper, and I just saw this faint look in his eye when he looked up at me, and in my head I was like, oh my god, he doesn't want me to look at that piece of paper because it's going to have something written on it that he doesn't want me to see. That was the first bit of weirdness that I was like, But then I thought it might just be he doesn't want me to see how much it was, because that is a bit awkward, me just like seeing what he's paid. Oh, hang on, my knees. Ow. Maybe I need to bring this lower. Oh, that's more comfortable. But let me just say, part of me was like, he 100% isn't going to be proposing because I've not finalised. Like, he's always like, you're so unorganised in what ring you want, and he doesn't even know what my ring size is. So I was like, how would he propose? Do you know what I mean? Like, it just seems too far-fetched. We then go up to our room, and the woman's like, oh my God, this is my favourite room in the hotel. And I thought, has he booked a nice room because we're getting engaged? But then I thought, maybe she just says that to everyone, because I suppose if you were like working in a hotel, you would say that because it makes people feel special. But the room was so nice, and I was like, this is nicer than the places we go, because we're very much the mindset of, I'd rather be able to go away more and it not be as fancy. We're not really someone that like would splash out on one holiday. We'd rather go on a few. Sorry, I'm being so slow. Oh my God, we've not even got to any of the good bits. Anyway, we go to dinner. Everything's kind of quite normal. I kind of think to myself, just in case I'm going to put makeup on at dinner. And then the menu comes and it's like a set menu. Because I'm a fussy eater. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like everything on this menu. He then goes to me, just order whatever you want. Order whatever. And I was like, that is very bougie. Are you Mr. Moneybags? And that was when I was a bit like, I think he is going to propose, because why would he be saying just order whatever you want? Anyway, all fine. We have one drink afterwards and we just get into bed at like 9 p.m. because that's what we would always do if we go away somewhere, and we watch Don't Tell the Bride. So I was a bit like, whatever, this is all quite normal. The problem was, right, I'd been going round and round in my head just in this brief time, in the time of getting to the hotel, having dinner, every little thing that was happening, I was like analysing him, watching his face, watching his reactions, and then I was starting to really stress myself out because I don't like secrets, right? I don't like there being a secret between me and Rory. I don't like secrets with anyone. I like everyone to always be on the same page. I definitely think that's a neurodiverse thing, because I always feel like I've never been on the same page as anyone, so I'm so desperate to try and create like an equilibrium. But I basically said to him before, would you mind if you taken me somewhere to get proposed to and I said to you, oh, I've clocked it, you're going to propose? Thinking he'd be like, no, like whatever, you can just say it. He was like, oh no, that would kind of ruin the surprise. Like, if you'd guessed it, could you just keep it to yourself? And I was a bit like, oh yeah, like sure, of course I could. So I really had in my head, don't say to Rory something like, oh, I feel like you're going to propose because you're going to ruin it. Like, he's asked you not to do that. He's probably not going to propose. Like, just try and enjoy yourself. But I just couldn't. I'd got myself so in a tiz because I felt like I'd clocked something and I felt like I couldn't say it, which is my idea of hell. So the next day we had breakfast, went for a walk, and then halfway through the walk I was a bit like, do you know what, actually, because he said to me, I've booked an activity for 3 p.m, and I'm so literal, not for 1 second did I imagine that that could be a proposal. So in my head I was thinking, he's got until 3 p.m to do this proposal, because obviously then we're going to go to this activity. Like, now I say that out loud, I'm like, hello. Basically, we're on the walk, I'm trying to enjoy myself and I'm trying to be normal, but I literally can't hear anything he's saying to me because all I'm thinking in my head is, oh my God, thought he was going to propose, now I don't know if he has. And I'd given myself a massive headache and I couldn't hold it in any longer. So on the walk I was like, look, I'm really sorry, I know you said not to say, but part of me felt like you were going to propose, but now I kind of think you're not because the activity's coming up so I can relax, but I can't get rid of this headache until I've said this out loud. Now we're back on the same page. And he was like, oh my God, Holly, like, yeah, of course you should have just said, like, of course I'm not going to propose. You said to me that I couldn't propose if it was like a birthday or Christmas or an anniversary, so like, why would I do that? Because basically before I'd said to him, oh, I don't want you to propose to me on like Christmas Day or a birthday or something because I'm an attention seeker and I like to have celebrations, and then you kind of lose one celebration because you've got another one. That's such a spoiled thing to say, but that is what I said. So he's like, no, you told me I couldn't do it on an anniversary or whatever, so I wouldn't have done that. Well, he was like, what other things made you think that? I was like, well, you didn't want me to go near the sheet. And he was like, oh yeah, he's like, I was being weird near the sheet because of the activity we're doing this afternoon. I didn't know if it would be written on there, so I didn't want you to see it before we're doing it, so I wanted it to be a surprise. And then I was like, yeah, but also you were like to me, oh, have whatever on the menu, like you were being so flamboyant. So he's like, oh yeah, sorry, I probably was being weird then as well. That was just because in the package I bought on the hotel you get like £40 a head. That also makes sense. He basically completely explained me out of it, and then the whole walk back he's like, haha, it's so funny that you thought you were going to get engaged, like blah blah blah. So then I'm completely off the scent. So we go and have lunch, we then go back to the room because I said to him like, oh, before we do this activity I need some time to just like decompress because I've stressed myself out so much. This is also why I couldn't do one of those videos being like, I think my boyfriend's proposing to me, because I was so stressed out. There was no room for like making any content. We get back, we're in the room, we're just chilling before this activity. Like, I'm literally lying in bed on TikTok. I'm still like, but what is this activity we're doing? I'm like, can you just tell me? Because I've already like stressed myself out so much today. And he's like,
no, I'm not telling you.
so he said, it's other people from the hotel have put it on and I can wear whatever I want. So in my head I was like, I presume it's ice skating or something like that. And he's like, oh, I'm not telling you. He then starts jumping around the room, pretending to do lunges on the ice, going like this, being like, haha, am I going to propose on the ice? Like, he's jumping on the bed doing lunges of proposing. Like, I don't know how this man was doing that when he was about to ask this question. So I'm honestly so far off the scent because he's literally taking the piss out of me for even thinking it was happening. So we go to leave the room and I'm like, should I change my my shoes, because I've got these old ASIC running shoes that I used to wear 2 years ago that I now wear as my walking trainers. Like the outfit I was in my leggings, I was in an Adenola hoodie that was creased, I had no makeup on, my hair wasn't done, and I had these like dad jeans on that didn't go, and then these trainers underneath that obviously didn't go. Like I honestly looked like my dad. So I said to him, like, should I change my shoes? And he's like, no. So I was like, it's definitely ice skating, that's why it doesn't matter what shoes I've got on. The only reason I changed out of leggings is because I was on my period and I had these massive period pants on, and so you could see like the line of the VPL of them. That's the only reason I didn't get proposed to in literal leggings. We walk out and he's like, I'm gonna go check with the reception and make sure that like it's still going ahead or like the timings. I was like, cool. He's like, yeah, it's all good. I was like, okay. So we walk out into the courtyard. We then walk down. He's like, okay, it's gonna pick us up at the top of the road. They're driving us to whatever you think it is, the ice skating rink. I was like, okay, cool. And then I see this long pathway and all these candles, and I see this hut with like champagne and stuff. And I look at him and I'm like, oh my God, someone's getting engaged. And then I was like, oh my God. And I was like, wait, is it me? Is it me? Then he like leaps around, gets on one knee in this hut. And I'm like, you know, you see the pictures when people get engaged and they're like, you should have seen me. I was like this. Like it was like I didn't want it to happen. Like, I was so overwhelmed. I was like I couldn't get it together. And then because I was being so ridiculous, it was making me laugh. And like me and Robbie are not serious people. We're always taking the piss out of each other. We're always like joking around. It was so unnatural. He's being so serious about how much he loves me, and I'm being so serious and how much I love him. And it was just like my brain couldn't compute it. So I literally cannot stop hysterically crying and then laughing. It's honestly like I'm possessed. And he's trying to say his line, because also I'd said to him like, babe, when you propose, I want to have some serious lines. Like I want to know exactly how much you love me. He's trying to say his lines. He's like, I love you so much. I love you so much. But he was like, I'm really sorry, but how much you're crying and laughing is throwing me off. And I was like, I'm really sorry, but I actually can't stop. I was like, I'm so overwhelmed by now. There was nothing sweet about it. And then in my head, I was like, oh my God, has he got like a photographer or something here? Because obviously I make content, I thought maybe he'd think that I'd want someone filming it. And I was so conscious. I was like, is there someone here filming? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh thank God. And I was like, okay, I can just cry, because I don't know how you guys have been proposed to when there's like a photographer like capturing it. Oh my God, I'd be so weird, because I am so scared of people perceiving me. If I knew someone was filming it, I know I'd be more concerned about what they thought of me than what Rory thought. Like I know that I'd be like, then suddenly I'd be like, because it would make me feel awkward them watching this. Like I wouldn't want them to be like, oh my God, is she all right? It's not even like to keep my own dignity. It's more that I'd worry that they'd feel awkward. I'm just gonna be brutally honest with you on here, because I feel like you that watch me on here know me entirely. Like I feel like on here I can be very honest. I was really scared that when I got engaged I wouldn't like the ring. The reason isn't because I'm like, oh, I want the perfect ring. The reason is because if I don't like something, I'm not very good at hiding I don't like it. Not in like a bratty way that I would be like, oh my God, this isn't the right thing. But in the fact, again, I'm so obsessed with honesty and everyone being on the same page. Basically, I really struggle with not telling people completely honestly. Like I used to hate opening presents in the case that I didn't 100% like something, because I just don't like lying in any capacity. Like, I remember once my mum bought me some pearl earrings and I went back up into my room and I sobbed and I didn't tell her that I didn't like them, but I felt so bad for not loving them. Like I felt so bad that I didn't love them. And that's what I thought with the ring. I was like, I'm gonna feel so bad if I don't love it, even though you don't have to love everything. And the point of the ring is obviously that I love Rory and I want to be with him forever. I'd feel bad for even feeling things, even if I'm not saying them out loud. I'd feel bad that my brain would even think them, because I used to get a lot of intrusive thoughts when I was younger, and I'd feel bad for thinking those thoughts. Sorry, that is such a segue. Anyway, he then like opened up the ring obviously when he proposed, and I was like, oh my God, I love it. I think I said, oh my God, thank God I like it. Like, and I just thought, could the neurodiversity like stay in for 1 second? Like, could I have not just said, oh, it's gorgeous, not like, thank God I love it. So anyway, he then put the ring on my finger, and then I was like to him, do my mum and dad know? Because I'm sure, as any of you know, I'm obsessed with my parents. And yeah, it turned out in October, so I got proposed to on the 14th of December. In October, November, I went to Dubai. And in that time, he took my mum and dad out to the pub to ask them. And oh my God, also, Rory messaged my mum and dad being like, are you free to go for a drink? And you'd think in that aspect, that's obvious what he's going to do. But apparently my dad couldn't relax and be like, oh my God, yes, can't wait. My dad just replied like,
yes, sure, I've got tennis on Tuesday, but we can do Wednesday.
My mum was like to my dad, oh my God, this is so exciting. Like, I think Rory's going to ask to marry Holly. Not ask, but just tell us. But my dad was like, well, what if he isn't? What if actually he's breaking up with her? What if he's about to ask us what he should do about the mortgage? Like, as if Rory Rory is going to go to my parents when he's breaking up with me and be like, hi, I'm about to dump your daughter while she's in Dubai. How should I sort the mortgage? And I was like, Dad, come on. It's also because my dad absolutely loves Rory. Like, he loves Rory more than he loves me and my brother. Like, honestly, like, he thinks the sun shines out of Rory's ass. You know, most parents are worried that, like, your partner isn't good enough for you. My dad is the opposite. My dad's always like, you and Rory still together? And I'm like, yes, Dad, he can still like me even though he's nice. Anyway, yeah, so he took them out, and then, so he did that on like the Wednesday, then he got the ring on the Friday when I was still away. And I've got him on Find My Friends, and I'm obsessed with checking Find My Friends. Like, I'm always looking where all my like friends are and stuff. He was like, he knew I'd be hot on where he was. Sorry, that sounds like I'm like,
where are you? Should be at home.
but it's more that I worry things are like going to happen to him. Like, when he drives up, so he's northern, when he drives up home, I always like track him on there, and like if he stops for a bit, I'm like calling him, I'm like,
Are you okay?
and he's like, yeah, I'm just in traffic. That's why he knew I'd probably be looking. So what he did, so smart, when he drove to these different places, he'd go past his golf club that he normally goes to. He'd then turn off his Find My location when he got past that exact bit, so that his location wouldn't go off at home or wouldn't go off in a random place, so that I just think he'd lost signal at the golf place. Which is a great idea, but I'm also like, shit, that is good thinking. Like, if he is going to cheat on me, like, he'd know how to do it. I'm doing a Q&A, and I had so many questions about the ring, so I'll answer that in the next video. That was that, and then we sat in this hut, we had some champagne, and then, yeah, that was it. There was a jacuzzi and a hot tub and a sauna and stuff at the hotel we were staying at, so then we went in there, then we went to go in the sauna, but like, the excitement of it all, and then like drinking the champagne made me really need a wee, and then suddenly I was like, oh my god, I'm actually going to piss myself. So we're like trying to get out this sauna, but I'm like, Rory, I'm actually going to have to piss outside of the sauna. And then we went out for dinner somewhere low-key that evening. The next day we came back, and that was that. And that was on the 14th of December. So I then kept this a secret. Well, it's not even a secret. I didn't share it online for about 3 weeks because it was very overwhelming. It was so overwhelming, like telling everyone, because you go through all the emotions again and again. Oh my god, sorry, I've missed a key bit as well. After we got engaged, obviously went in the jacuzzi, went for dinner, came back. We were in bed again at like 10. But I was just so overwhelmed by the whole process of what had happened that I could not sleep. I was like wired. I wasn't anxious, but I was so like, oh my god, this is so momentous. Like, I don't even know what to do with my brain, that I actually couldn't sleep. So then I ended up staying up to like 1 a.m. doing like deep breathing exercises, watching any like Channel 5 documentary there was. I think it was like the Alpine Hotel in the summer, in the winter. I kept looking at my finger and I was like, oh my god, me and Rory are actually adults. And the next day we like told our parents, and then like drip fed telling friends, because I found telling people just really overwhelming. And it's also just such odd news. It's a bit like birthdays. It feels really embarrassing. I'm like, why are we only celebrating me? Like, my brain just can't compute a lot of it. And that's why it's taken me a while to actually share it on here, because it's so much to take on board. So many different people say different things all the time, and it's so many opinions, and it's so many like questions like, when's the wedding? When's this? When's that? And I'm like, babe, you're finding out today. I only found out like 4 days ago. You know as much as I do. Like, I'm only a few days more ahead of you. It was my dream proposal. Because I'm an attention seeker, I wouldn't want it to be mega low-key, like just in bed. But obviously, I'd be happy with anything. I feel like to put a load of disclaimers in here, but like, I'm actually not going to put disclaimers. I'm just going to be honest. I am an attention seeker, so I do like the idea that you've done something that's a bit of like a gesture, but I wouldn't want it to be in public in front of anyone. I wouldn't want a photographer or person filming it, because I wouldn't like me acting weird in front of them. I mean, it was ideal. Like, it was like away for the weekend. It was like a little private hut, so like no one was going to walk past and awkwardly us have to be like, thanks. When we went back into the hotel after it happened, and like the people at the hotel knew because they'd obviously set up the hut, I hated that bit of going back in and everyone being like, oh. It just made me cringe. I was like, why are these strangers like know such a personal thing about me right now? Like, this is really making me, and this is definitely the neurodiversity speaking, so please don't judge me for this, but that is how my brain is. I'm like, oh my god, like I almost was like walking back to the hotel like covering it, because I was like, this is such personal information right now, and it's so weird that my mum and dad don't know yet, but you do, like this random person at this hotel. But yeah, it was ideal for me, and it was ideal that it was I was about to say it's ideal that it was with Rory, but like obviously. But it was ideal that like afterwards, I don't think I'd have liked going straight into my whole friends and family being somewhere and having to like be switched on, because it took all the energy out of me, all the emotions, everything came out of me, and like, by the evening I was a shell, and like Rory's just my perfect person, because he was happy like in the evening for us to sit in bed and watch another episode of Don't Tell the Bride. So that's the story. I don't know how I'm going to do this wedding, honestly. Like, it's very stressful to me, because I just think like it's all on one day. That feels too much pressure, one day of like knowing you've got to try and have a good time, because like I don't ever know if I'm going to have a good good time. So if you are interested in watching someone trying to plan a wedding that is neurodiverse, quite anxious, doesn't know if she's coming or going, doesn't know if she's an attention seeker or not, well, I want a flash mob, but I don't want anyone to look at me. Like, I'm like, babe, what the hell do you want? Follow along. I'm sure trying to plan this wedding is going to be an absolute shit show. Like I'm not someone that's always pictured like getting married. It's going to be like, I've got no idea what this is going to look like. Me and Rory said our ideal wedding would be that we went on like Don't Tell the Bride, and we just did something like that was quite funny and low key. They don't run the show anymore. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that story. Let me know if you've got any questions or what videos you'd like me to make about this topic. And also, if you don't care about this topic, don't worry, because I don't want to keep talking about it either. Like, I do want to talk about it, but like, I don't want my whole personality to be getting married, because it's not actually a mega part of my life. Like, I love Rory and I love the idea of being married to Rory, but like the actual wedding, it's not something like, it's just not one of those things that for me is like this like mega milestone forever. When we think about what we want to put our money into, I'm desperate to move house and pay for that more so than putting a load of money into this one day. That just seems wild to me. I completely get for other people it's not. I'll speak to you later. But yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know. And if you've got any questions for Rory, I'll do a video with him as well, force him into it. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I'm so pleased that I get to share this with you, because I feel like this is one of the first life moments I feel like you guys have been with me from the start, so I think that's quite nice, because a lot of things had already happened before I met you, all of you. Okay, love you loads. Bye!